Hello again. Well, after a fairly quiet day of weather, some tricky conditions coming our way, so much so we do have various weather warnings in force. In fact, an amber one now in force for southern parts of the country. Heavy rain in places may lead to some issues with some flooding, so do be prepared for that. Now, the reason for it, we've got low pressure driving this weather system across the UK, and it is going to be bringing some fairly heavy rainfall at times and some strong gusty winds too. You can see the squeeze in the isobars low. That rain will eventually pull out the way as we go through Monday night and into Tuesday, and back to a mixture of sunshine and showers from then onwards. So for the rest of tonight, the further east that you are, you will stay driest for the longest, but it will be clouding over, and as I say, outbreaks of rain arriving. Some of that rain will be heavy in places, accompanied by some fairly gusty old winds too. But it's going to be a fairly mild night out there for many, but it will certainly be a grotty start to the day on Monday. So do be prepared. Some tricky travelling conditions throughout Monday. Spells of sometimes heavy rain out there, strong winds too, although it is going to be a mild day. Look at those temperatures highs there, up to around 12 or 13 degrees. And then looking further ahead, we can see eventually we lose that band of rain, but low pressure never too far away. So changeable conditions as we go through the rest of the week. There will be a few showers around at times, but also some sunny spells in between. Not quite as windy out there, and our temperatures are staying fairly mild for the time of year. Highs generally up to around 9 or 10 degrees. Do take care, and I'll see you later on. Bye-bye. Hello again. Hope you've all had a lovely day so far. Well, it may be fairly calm and quiet across the region at the moment, but we have got rain working its way towards us, and that's going to take us into a wet and a windy start to the day on Monday. And overall this week, it's changeable, so there will be some sunshine around, but also a fair few showers in the mix too. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. We can see we've got this low pressure out in the Atlantic that's driving this system towards the UK as we go through tonight and into tomorrow, bringing outbreaks of rain. Some of that rain heavy in places, and you can see the squeeze in the isobars. It will be quite windy for a time too. Although it looks like it will be a better picture for many of us on Tuesday. Just a few showers here and there, and those winds will be lighter too. So in the meantime, coming back to the rest of tonight, well, fairly quiet at the moment, but as the night progresses, that cloud will be increasing, those winds start to strengthen, and there will be some outbreaks of rain too. And as I mentioned earlier, some of that rain heavy in places, and that sets us up for a grotty start to the day on Monday morning. So a lot of cloud around, outbreaks of rain. As I say, some of that rain will be heavy at times, strong gusty winds gusting 35-40 miles per hour in places, but it will be mild. Temperatures there around 12 or 13 degrees, but overall not a great day to come. And then looking ahead towards Tuesday, well, the bulk of that rain will eventually move out of the way. Might just see the odd shower, but for most of us, still a good deal of dry weather on Tuesday, and those winds will be lighter too. But overall, the next few days staying unsettled. Temperatures a little bit above average for the time of year. Hello again. Hope you've all had a lovely day so far. Well, it may be fairly calm and quiet out there at the moment, but rain is working its way towards us, and that is going to take us into a wet and a windy start to the day on Monday. And then overall this week, well, changeable conditions across the region. So there will be some sunshine, but also more showers in the mix too. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. We can see low pressure out in the Atlantic is driving this weather system across the UK as we go through tonight and into tomorrow. Some of that rain will be heavy in places, and you can see the squeeze in the isobars too. It is going to be quite windy for a time. Although on Tuesday, the bulk of the rain will move out of the way, and for many of us, actually not a bad day out there, and those winds will be lighter too. Now let's come back to the rest of tonight. Well, at the moment it's dry. We've got some clear skies, and it is a little on the chilly side, but as the night progresses, you can see that cloud will be increasing. The winds will start to strengthen. They're coming up from a southerly direction, so that's going to boost the temperatures, and there will be outbreaks of rain too, and that is going to take us into quite a, let's say, a miserable start to the day on Monday morning. A lot of cloud around, outbreaks of rain, so that rain will be heavy for a time too, although it will slowly start to improve as we go through the afternoon. But wherever you are, it stays grey for much of the day, but it will be mild. Temperatures there up to around 11 or 12 degrees. And then looking further ahead, as I mentioned earlier, it's a changeable week, so there will be some sunshine, also a few showers at times. The winds will be lighter as we go through the week, and temperatures a little bit above average for the time of year. Bye-bye. Hello again. Hope you've all had a lovely Sunday so far. Well, it may be calm and quiet out there at the moment, but rain is working its way towards us, and that's going to take us into a wet and a windy start to the day on Monday. And overall this week, well, changeable conditions across the capital, which means sunny spells and a few showers. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. We can see we've got low pressure out in the Atlantic. That's driving this weather system across the UK, and that's what's bringing the cloud and spells of rain. Some of that rain will be heavy at times, especially across more western parts. And you can see the squeeze in the isobars. It is going to be windy for a time too low. On Tuesday, it is looking a lot quieter. For many of us, a good deal of dry weather, and those winds will become lighter too. Now, before we get to that, out there at the moment, it's largely dry. We've got clear skies and it's feeling a little on the chilly side. But as the night progresses, that cloud will be increasing, the winds will start to strengthen, and eventually we'll see some outbreaks of rain too. Those winds bringing in some milder air. And for tomorrow morning, but certainly a grotty start to the day. Grey, murky spells of rain. Some of that rain could be heavy for a time in one or two places, and gusty old winds too. Although you can see it will become drier as we move through the afternoon, but we are left with a lot of cloud out there. But with those winds coming up from the south, it is actually going to be feeling rather mild. We're expecting highs there anywhere between 10 and 12 degrees. But as I mentioned earlier, this week overall it's a changeable setup, so there will be a few showers around, sunny spells in between, but actually our temperatures remain a little bit above average for the time of year. I'll see you a bit later on. Bye bye. Hello again. Hope you've all had a lovely day so far. Well, we've certainly seen plenty of sunshine across the region today, but outbreaks of rain are coming our way, and that's going to take us into quite a wet and blustery start to the day on Monday. And overall, as we go through the next few days, changeable conditions across the region, a case of sunny spells and showers. So let's take a look at that in a bit more detail, where you can see as we go through tonight and into tomorrow, we've got low pressure here out in the Atlantic that is driving this weather system towards the UK, and that's what's bringing all of the rain. So that is going to be heavy, especially across more western parts, and for a time you can see the squeeze in the isobars. It will be rather windy, but by the time we get to Tuesday, things do quieten down somewhat. More a case of sunny spells and showers, and those winds will eventually be easing off too. Now, in the meantime, for the rest of tonight, well, quiet out there at first with some clear skies. So it will turn a little on the chilly side at first, but then you can see as the night progresses, clouding over, outbreaks of rain arriving, and those winds will strengthen too. And that is going to take us into quite a grotty start to the day on Monday. So grey and murky, spells of rain, some heavy downpours in places for a time, and strong gusty winds too. But those winds are feeding up from a southerly direction, and that means it's actually going to be feeling quite mild for the time of year. Bearing in mind it's the start of the meteorological winter tomorrow, we're looking at highs there up to around 12 degrees. And then looking at further ahead, well, eventually we lose that rain, and you can see on Tuesday, low pressure never too far away, so sunny spells and showers, and it will be less windy for many. Bye-bye. Hello again. I hope you've all had a lovely Sunday so far. Well, we do have some rain coming our way, and that's going to take us into a wet and a windy start on Monday. And overall this week, well, changeable conditions with a mixture of sunshine and showers to follow. So what's happening as we go through tonight, that low pressure here is going to drive the system right across the UK, bringing spells of rain. Some of that rain will be heavy in places, especially across more western parts, and for a time it will be rather windy too. Those winds start to ease off by the time we get to Tuesday, and as I say, we're back to that mixture of sunshine and showers. Now, in the meantime, for the rest of tonight, well, it starts off quiet and dry at first with some clear skies, so it will turn a little chilly out there at first, but then overnight the cloud will be increasing, and we've got some rain working its way towards us. Those winds will strengthen too, and it will be turning a bit milder. But all in all, it's going to be a pretty grotty start to the day on Monday. A lot of cloud around, outbreaks of rain in places, and quite gusty winds too. Those winds potentially gusting up to around 35 miles per hour. Now, we are expecting it to improve later on in the day, but overall it is staying cloudy, and that's for top temperature 10 or 11 degrees there. 11 is 52 in Fahrenheit. And then looking further ahead, where you can see overall it is quite a messy scene across the UK as we move into Tuesday, but not much rain around, as you can see here, and those winds will be lighter too. So as I say, changeable as we go through the next few days. Once we get the rainfall out the way on Monday, it's more a case of sunny spells and showers, not quite as windy, and temperatures just a little bit above average for the time of year. Bye-bye.